Your clock shut
Beautiful.
off.
Ah, God, this is a great way to begin this episode. Welcome back, everybody, to the Talking Average Fitness Podcast. Of course, my name is Sam Burns. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Mr. Kevin McCarthy, and our third third special guest.
Your
Yeah.
Miss,
spontaneous guest?
yes, very spontaneous, but very, very fortunate to have you here, Miss Nicole Considine, soon to be Mrs.
Hunt.
at some point here. Yes, very, very
Yep.
exciting. When's that going to be? Or is that also a military secret?
Neither. Technically already misses. We actually
gonna
got
say,
married in
they're-
August.
Oh, wait, really? Secret married. Congratulations.
Yeah, fun fact, we got married at the finish line of the Leadville 100 miler.
I didn't
So-
know that.
Yep. Usually the girl walks down the aisle and said John ran 100 miles. So, two things a little different.
Sure, absolutely.
But
Same.
wedding dress wedding, as we're calling it, is March 25th.
Wedding just
so-
ready. Very
Yep.
cool.
We had
Are
the
you-
paper marriage, the wedding dress wedding.
My wife and I did the same thing. We got, for insurance. We got married in our backyard. My mother officiated it, and my wife was sick as a dog. Like, she gets really, really sick, like maybe once every 18 months, and this is when it was. And I think she got up out of bed and was conscious long enough to do the ceremony, and then went and laid back down.
That's
And then-
amazing.
And then the real wedding. So we were just talking about how we try to do this 40-minute AMRAP style. I have no confidence that clock is going to operate the way I want it to. So I'm just gonna do this on my watch here. So the topic for the day is open gym. Yes, no, maybe, considerations, all those things. For anyone who doesn't know Nicole, FYI, she's not just some jabroni that I met on, I don't know, Omegle or something like that.
Oh my gosh. What a time to be alive when Omegle was a thing.
Right?
What a time to be alive. My
Throwing
God.
it back. So,
Yeah.
Nicole, fantastic CrossFit coach. Level 3, not level 4 yet?
No, not level 4 yet.
Not level 4 yet. Are you aiming for it?
I think so, but we're gonna wait until I'm not living in Alaska where they're not hosting any, and when there's no wedding planning to be had, and my husband's not deployed, so we need life to calm down a bit.
All right, so you've got your priorities. I respect that. So, I met you when I went to the Phoenix, and you were just kind of helping out and being the good-natured human that you are, and doing coaching development, and also pitching in and coaching there as well. And it's different now. They've changed a bunch of different things, but that's how I came across you. And when did you two meet?
I met Kevin very shortly after I moved to Boston.
Yep.
Via
Larry.
via Larry initially, and then met him a second time through Natalie.
Yep.
Who's a member at the CrossFit Boston gym. But I moved up to Boston very much spontaneously and on a whim. And Larry Thomas, who's on seminar staff, and he's the owner of CrossFit Accolade, CrossFit Commonwealth, and I forget what fancy title he holds at the Phoenix, but he's a man of many hats. He took me under his wing, and I basically slept on his couch for 3 or 4 months. And I wasn't even up there a day before he was like, "We're networking with this person and this person and this person, and we got to go."
Yep.
And one of those networking was meeting up with the CrossFit One Nation crew, and that's how I met Kevin.
Very cool.
Yep.
So vetted, a person who is at least as geeky as we are, if not more so. But someone who, when you talk, I listen. That's one of the ways that I categorize you inside of my brain, as a coach. I hold you in very high regard.
Well, thank you.
Open gym. And because we're gentlemen, I'm going to kick this to the lady first, right? So when we talk about open gym, what are your thoughts? What goes through your head?
Love-hate relationship with it.
What a great way to
As,
start.
as soon as Sam was like, our topic today is open gym, and it's the look on Nicole's face. I'm like, I know what she knows.
Yeah.
I know what she knows, what I know that she knows,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with it as an athlete. Specifically, if I look at this past year, I took a small break from training CrossFit. I still coached it, but I took a step back and I focused on powerlifting. And so open gym was a godsend to me. I loved it.
Yeah.
But as a coach, I also know the challenges and obstacles that come with open gym. And I think it's really important when thinking about open gym that you take each affiliate into consideration in terms of their layout, their membership demographic, and their class times. Some class times, especially if the gym is on the smaller side, just may not allow for open gym. And you're going to have members who are upset about that. But the reality is people are paying for the class. People are paying for the coaching. And if you have someone on an assault bike in the corner of a small gym, that coaching experience and that ability to hear the cues and hear what needs to be done throughout the workout is just missed.
Yeah. I think that's, and I love that it's, for you, it's like, it's crystal clear. Like that is exactly how you feel about that. And even then what I think when I listen to that is like, you have very clearly outlined for yourself what you want the culture of the affiliate that you are part of to be like. And as a part of that culture, the thing that the people get for their money is the class, is the coaching. Whereas I know some members who'd be like, I pay you to leave me alone and let me come in and do whatever I want. And that's to your point about like, what is the gym and what is the demographics and stuff like that. Like, I don't know that that's necessarily wrong, quote unquote, but I know some people who would say that,
Yeah. I think it's going to be a different answer for each affiliate. As Kevin pointed out earlier, I've been a part of a lot of affiliates.
Yep.
Currently,
72 at the same time.
Yes.
Here in Anchorage, I'm a part of 2 gyms, and then
Of course you are.
It's like, was it ever a shock? I would have been less shocked if she was like, I'm part of 5 gyms. We just
I also coach virtually for the Phoenix, so there's technically 3 in there.
That's 3. That's
so cool.
for those counting. That's 3.
Yeah.
But it's very different. One of the affiliates that I coach at, I'm kind of a guest coach. I really only picked up coaching there as they had a coach that went on maternity leave and they needed someone else to step in and help out temporarily. But they have a 0 open gym policy throughout the week, with the exception of Thursday. Thursday, they host no classes and they have a select number of hours that they do open gym. So they kind of subscribe to the original model of Thursdays was the rest day.
Right.
But they knew people wanted access to the gym. So they're like, all right, we've got open gym.
That's so interesting.
Versus, it's very interesting. Most of the members will just make up a workout they missed throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have some that will kind of cater to whatever their goal is at the time and work through that. Versus the other gym that I'm a part of, CrossFit Northern Exposure, they are open from the time the lights go on in the morning until the door closes at night. Yep. But it's a very clear rule of open gym is when class is not happening, unless you specifically go to the coach and ask, in which case they have the autonomy to be like, yes, I have 2 people and tons of space. You can work out over here, or sorry, there's 15 people, there's no space. Like, you can take class or you can wait.
Yeah, that's cool. And in both instances, it's very interesting that you've got an affiliate where, like, on one side, it's like we are so clear in our morals and values that we're closed on a day, and then on the other side, we're so clear on our morals and values that the coach gets to decide, like, coach autonomy. Hey, go be a good human. Go execute on things. It's very interesting because there's a lot of ways that could come down. So quick side note: I have 2 members at the last affiliate who I was at that were members at CrossFit Northern Exposure before they moved to the state of Maine. Yeah, and I was like, I know where that is.
Very cool. We actually have another one that will be going to Maine. So when I find out where, I'll see if maybe I can push her in that direction. Yeah.
And if they end up with questions about, like, where to go and whatnot, I've kind of zeroed in on, like, affiliates in the space and who's doing what. So if they're looking for one thing or another, I can point them in the right direction.
Cool.
Kev, talk to me. So, like, I can imagine that you two would like share opinions, considering shared history and whatnot. Um,
That's a
what
pretty
goes
safe
through?
bet.
Right.
Pretty
I'm
safe
not.
bet.
I don't want to. I don't want to make assumptions though. So, like, you know, tell me like what goes through your brain when I talk about open gym.
Yeah. I mean, as you're saying, I share very, very similar opinion with Nicole and feelings about it. For me, the affiliates I've been a part of professionally is largely CrossFit One Nation for a large chunk of years, and then now at CrossFit Tilt. Um, Open gym can kind of happen whenever,
Yep.
but for me and kind of the atmosphere that we try to lay out is a class always takes priority. So for example, if you're coming in during a class hour and you want to work on your muscle ups, but we have muscle ups programmed in class, that's a no-go. Class takes priority and gets to use those rings or the bar or whatever the implement is. If we have a big class and we need to use all the barbells and you want to come in and lift, not today, homie. We're using the barbells for class, and people would kind of have to deal with that if you're going to do open gym during class. But you know, we would kind of keep the gym, like the doors open pretty much the entire day. So between classes, if people wanted to come in, there wasn't like an official open gym slot on the, at least for when I was at One Nation at the Boston gym. I know for Needham, they had like some open gym slots on the schedule that people could sign up for. For the Boston gym, it was kind of just like if you were between classes, you were kind of free to come in and throw down and do what you wanted to do as long as you didn't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's for me, it's just class always has to come first. And for me, like I'm lucky enough that the affiliates I've been a part of have kind of like shared in that feeling of our priority is class, is the product we offer. Um, Open gym isn't the priority. And it's even so far as like the owner of Cross Tilt, Max, or one of the owners, Max, is very adamant. He's like, if people are coming to my gym, they need to be taking class. Like he's like, I don't want to have an athlete in the gym that's like, I just follow X program over here in the corner every day. It's like, no, no, no. If you're coming to my gym, I want you to be a part of the community. And if all you want to do is go follow whatever program, then go find somewhere else to do it type thing. So like very strong in his conviction about that. Like open gym's good and can be used as a tool, but it's not the main course, so to speak.
Sure. I think that's and I've heard of that in other places. I've heard of people talking about that. Um, Ackerman will talk about how, if you want to come in and do open gym, cool. I encourage you to do that at another affiliate. If you're going to come in, you're going to be part of our affiliate. You're going to take class, and it's simply the way he would want to run something like that. I've
Mm-hmm.
also been a part of an affiliate where, it was we opened the doors at 5:30, and from 5:30 to when we closed at whatever it was, 7:30 or 8:30, depending on the day, um, anybody could come in at any time, and they could take class, they could work out during class. Most people, because CrossFit's not really full of as many shitheads as you might find proportionately in other demographics. Most people are pretty good about like, oh, you're doing a workout that includes a lot of rig work. Okay, I'll not pick my bar and stand and do stuff in the middle of your class and stuff like that. Although it does happen every once in a while.
Yep.
Well, there's always one.
Always one.
Like I
There's
said,
always.
CrossFit is
And
we have fewer shitheads. Not that they're not
yeah,
there, but we have fewer shitheads.
say
They're
if you're
less
listening to
obvious.
this, if you're listening to this, you know who that person is. You're like, yep, that's who it is. It's like, because this is one that will like annoy me, where you kind of like sit down and have a conversation with someone where it's kind of like, hey, maybe don't do this. Is like, and I'm sure you both have experienced this one time. Is like, right, class is coming in, it's time for class to start. Someone like they may have come in and started doing open gym or doing their kind of own thing prior to class starting, and then they continue doing their own thing as you're trying to start the class, and you're at the whiteboard giving a brief, and every few words you hear the bang of a barbell on the floor, bang of a barbell on the floor as you're trying to brief the workout. Yeah, exactly. I can see on your faces, we've been there. And all you're thinking is, I'd love to punch you in the throat, but I can't. Or I can, I'll just be out of a job. But we all know that one person that, you just have like, hey, can you just like hold off on the lifting and smashing a barbell around while I'm briefing class? Thanks. Um, and for the most part, people are very kind of compliant with that. So luckily.
Well, so I agree. for the most part, people are pretty compliant. Let's think of this from, let's presume good intentions, right? Like,
Right.
what are some instances where we are okay? When I say we, I mean, we have obviously we have our own views on this thing because of our own experiences. If you were going to recommend to a head coach or a GM or an affiliate owner, even they got the question of open gym coming up, how would you encourage them to say yes with some caveats that would be constructive, for example? Well, what do you got?
That's to you, Nicole.
Oh, whoops. I was like, well, I mean, I take a look at here, like I was saying, like our coaches have the autonomy to say yes or no to the member. And the expectation for our coaches is that they know the workout. So they've briefed it ahead of time, they've prepared their warm up, they know exactly how much space is going to be utilized. Um, and then at least if I'm coaching, I tend to wait to give the okay on open gym until like 5 minutes into class. Because you always have one or two people who, try as hard as they might, they don't get there on time. So this way, you know exactly how many people you're dealing with. I'll usually also ask the individual what they plan to do for open gym, because that could really dictate whether or not I say yes or no. An example would be I had someone the other day that just wanted to work on some banded strict pull-ups. Their goal is by the end of the year is to get one unassisted. They're going to take a very small surface area. And we weren't using the rig. I knew they also wouldn't necessarily need a spotter. I wouldn't have to be concerned about them in terms of like safety or bailing a bar. So it's like that was a very easy yes, versus I have someone who might want to be doing snatches. And I know from having them in class that maybe they aren't the best with their bar path, where there's a lot of banging and clanging or bailing of the bar behind them. That could be a safety concern. Depending on how many people I have in class and the layout that I need, that one's most likely going to be a no. But I might encourage them in a different direction. For example, if they tell me that their goal is squats, hey, I wanted to work on this, and be like, okay, we really don't have the space for that, but what about maybe using the corner over there and work on some snatch balance? Can I give them something different yet similar that's going to assist them with training for their goal, but also allow a safe environment for class, and also an environment for class where my members aren't going to be distracted and they can have their focus on me instead of the other person.
Right. I like that. That's super specific, and trying to find ways to say yes, but in a way that's going to be like, let's preserve the class experience. Let's make sure that, one, I don't have to worry about you hurting yourself. And I love that you mentioned spotting, because it's something that we don't often, we as a community of coaches might not often think about, and really should, and especially with gymnastics work. And also the safety consideration. It's one thing to be like, oh, well, this is noisy. It's another thing entirely where it's like, you're going to lose that bar? Like, am I going to have to worry about you, like, injuring yourself or another human being? And I take it the affiliate that we're talking about here, it's a smaller square footage, so, like, space is kind of at a premium.
Yeah, spatial is a premium for right now. We, across the Northern Exposure, recently acquired the other half of our building. So we are literally doubling in size, which is phenomenal.
It's going to be sick.
It's going to be so sick.
Are they side by side, or is it like L-shaped or something?
It's side by side.
Okay, good.
So we're essentially demolishing half the wall.
Yep.
So there'll still be a little bit of privacy between the two sections. And then we're getting, from my understanding, like one of those pull curtains. Mm-hmm. So if we wanted to have, for example, in the evening, we host a kids class at 3:15. There's been some requests from parents to have that moved back. So we could have both classes going on, but separate. It would also allow for our evening demographic tends to be the one that actually likes open gym more. They're very social. They want to stay after class and do something extra. They have a lot of positive peer pressure. They want to do like a sit-up challenge or whatever. So having the extra space would allow them to do that and it not be so distracting or disruptive.
Yeah.
They are really respectful. I've only ever had maybe one or two that care more about their assault bike workout than they do about the class going on up front.
Right.
But after conversation, things are okay.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that. Kev, what about you? You want to say yes to open gym. What are your lines in the sand?
I mean, I just think you have to be really clear about what you're looking for, especially if you're like, you're a gym owner, you're just opening your affiliate and you're starting to try and establish that kind of atmosphere and community at your gym, you just have to be really clear about what you want from your community, because there are some gyms that do a lot more open gym and allow a lot more open gym, and they do really well because the community just kind of like it works well for that. And then there are other gyms that, like you said, Ackerman's gym, maybe, where it's like, if you want to go do open gym, go do it somewhere else, where it's like, no, we're just like, this is the class, this is what works, and we're, not really allowing more than that. You just have to, as the gym owner or the manager, or whatever it is, or the relationship that happens there, be really clear about what you want to have happen within your community. And then once you have that figured out, like, we want to allow more open gym, a little bit of open gym, no open gym at all, how you can best do that while still serving your community. I mean, for all of us in CrossFit, we know that, like, class is the product that we provide and the main product of the gym. So in my mind, at least, nothing should really be allowed to interfere with that. Again, if you're going to be taking up not a huge amount of space, for Nicole's example of the person that wants to work on the strict pull-ups, you're taking up, one little section of pull-up bar that's probably a 4-foot section, and you need, a band or two, and you're ready to rock and roll, and, we're good to go, versus the person that needs a sandbag, 2 dumbbells, a kettlebell, a box, a set of rings, a barbell, and the whole deal, because we're doing like the games chipper from 2018 or whatever. It's like,
you're forgetting
cool.
They're probably also handstand walking across the gym.
Exactly. They need the whole 50-foot section of floor. And it's like, all right, that's cool, man, but we have a 40-person 430 class, so maybe not. So it
you laugh. People might think that's extreme. It's not. Like,
no, you laugh. I've literally had that happen where, like, someone, again, this is at the CrossFit Boston gym, and we had, a couple members that, they love to throw down on some things. And to be fair, they were like, their goal was to start before class, but then, socializing happens, start talking with people. You, by the time you grab all the stuff, you warm up, quote unquote, you're just like, all right, now it's like 4:15, and I know for a fact this workout's going to take you longer than 15 minutes. So it's like, you can't do that where you're like, I need all the space and all the equipment to do my open gym, and you're one person versus at the time it was like 30 some odd people in class. I'm like, sorry guys, you're gonna have to do this another day. So it's, in my mind, if you're going to do something open gym wise, like during class hours, it needs to be the least distracting, because Nicole made a really good point where it's like, you could, maybe not that they're, causing a safety hazard, but the banging of the barbell or someone doing something distracts all the members from the coach. I'm watching this person do snatches over here, and Nicole's trying to, teach me her proprietary blend of toes to bar stuff, and I'm not listening to Nicole because I'm watching so-and-so snatch.
Yep.
And like, that's also a problem. Even if it's not a safety thing or a space thing, if you're taking away from the class experience from people, that's a problem in my mind. Because that's what, as you were saying, Sam, that's what people are paying for. They're paying their membership for the coaching. So that's at least how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, I like to think that they're paying memberships for coaching, but I've absolutely experienced, people who pay, of course, we're in the Boston area, so prices are a little bit different than they might be other places in the country, upwards of $200 to basically tell the coach, leave me alone, I want to do open gym. And I love the idea of open gym, but so rarely have I seen it executed in a way that doesn't at some point come back and bite people in the ass. And Kev, I love that you talked about, like, kind of from the affiliate owner down, like, what is important? What are, like, almost like, what are our morals and values here? What is our why? What are our core, like, why are we doing what we're doing, and how does that drive everything else? Because if you don't answer those questions, you end up in a position where somebody will do some shit at some point in time, and you've got to deal with it. And if you haven't decided, like, what your lines in the sand are, you might end up having to make them up on the spot. And, oh, what's up, doggo?
That's why I keep stepping away, is he kept barking.
Yeah, of course. Totally okay. Dogs are important. I think that's really important. And if you can get an affiliate owner on board and everyone's like on the same page, like top down, like this is how we're going to do this. This is what's appropriate. These are our SOPs. Cool, fantastic. You're probably in the best position possible. Um, I have also been on the other side where there was none of that, and now it's a damn free for all, and
Mm-hmm.
and it ends up becoming a culture issue, on the on the extreme end. And I've seen this at a bunch of different places, and I'll give examples. I was at a I was at an affiliate where members never took class. I had two people who they would come in the 6:30 class. They'd come in at the beginning of the 6:30 class, and they would spend 30 minutes stretching and like getting loose and limber, and then at the end of the 6:30 class, they would start their workouts. And they were on comp train or something like that, and that's how they would spend their time. And they were in the community, but not really part of the community. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen it where, and for whatever reason, it's really popular with masters athletes, where I've got like one or two people who are on this program, and they're like, "Oh, I look at the program on the whiteboard. Nah, that's stupid. Let's do this 40-minute EMOM." And and I'm thinking to myself, are you actually trying to get better at something, or are you just looking to make your life difficult? Um,
The
and it's
second one.
it's the second one, and it's one
It,
of those EMOMs where it's an alternating EMOM where
mhm.
it's chest to bars and burpee box jump overs and kettlebell swings and squat snatches or some shit like that. There's a lot of like overlapping movement
I just
patterns
want to
there,
ask them like why at that point, like why.
Because Matt Fraser programmed it.
right?
I'll
Um,
call it out that like I mean not that it's not effective, but like if you've ever seen the hard work pays off programming, it's at least once a week there's a 40-minute EMOM, and I know this because one of my other coaches does this pro. She hops it, she does class as well and like swap stuff out, but
Good.
she like follows hard work pays off, and almost every week, if not twice a week on Instagram, I'm like you see the 40-minute EMOM and you're like,
Yeah,
and
that is
it's like yeah, it's like it's 4 stations, no rest. So it's 10 rounds through. And
gross.
it's like on the first minute, 30 cal assault bike. On the second minute, 20 unbroken muscle ups. On the third minute, 200-foot handstand walk. And then on the fourth minute, run a marathon. Like
Yes,
it's the most
Backwards.
ridiculous, like exact with ankle weights.
yes.
It's the most ridiculous EMOM. I'm like, why?
Well, and this
I'm
is
like,
obviously an extreme example, but like,
it is. I'm very much so exaggerating, but it's a 40-minute EMOM where like, normally when I think of an EMOM, I'm like, okay, you're practicing something at like moderate fatigue. You're doing like on the minute 5 pull-ups or something like
yep,
that, where like the accumulation of that like starts to get some fatigue in there. But it's not like I mean the 40-minute EMOMs that Cat will do is like I'm like this could have just been 10 rounds of these 4 movements and it probably would have taken roughly the same time. Like it's not
yep.
really an EMOM. It's just like I don't know if that makes sense, but it
What
is. Yeah.
what drives me nuts, and I really don't like opening myself up to reprisal like this, but is the truth. And I get these athletes, they for whatever reason they're bored, they don't think it's interesting, they don't want to be corrected. I'm not sure like what is going on, like what their decision tree looks like, but they're doing this workout, and almost always it involves a load that they are not ready for and not executing on as well as they could be or as safely as they could be, and not at the intensity that I would hope for them to achieve, like say in a class where I could be like, go faster, that kind of thing. And I want to going back to like, why are you doing this? I want to look at them and be like, but why? Like, does it feel good? Like, I'm watching you throw around this barbell like you're trying to, 155 power cleans or whatever, and your elbows are not coming all the way through, and you are starfishing like crazy. And are we improving here? And
Well, I guess
and
the
this,
question is, are they trying to improve?
And now we're coming back to why are you doing what you do?
Yep, coming back to why are we doing it?
It's always why.
We're coming back to our first episode. Well, no,
Uh,
second episode, I think. First one
oh,
was like, hey, here's who we are. Listen to us, maybe. Um, but yeah, it is interesting with a lot of those programs, that people would do during open gym is like, why are you doing it? Are you like, are you doing it just because it's like it's on your SugarWatt app in front of you and you're like, I have to check all the boxes, so I'm going to do this. I'm just going to survive and try and make it through? Or is there a specific purpose to what you're doing and why you're doing it?
because it's never
I don't know.
accessory work. It's always like individual
No.
competitor programming.
Yeah, and I would argue again. I'll make a bold statement. I know I'm much more willing to be the controversial one than Sam is. He's very eloquent. I'm more just like, no, here's how it is. My argument, my contention would be like people that kind of go down that route, unless you have a very specific goal of like, I'm doing this extra training or following this extra program because X. If people are like, when you mentioned bored, they're bored, they don't think it'll work. I find that like if people put, I don't know, like 60% effort into the warm up and the skill work, they would start to realize the value of that stuff during a class. Like, hey, as we're going through, like, I know you can do muscle ups. I got it. The fact that we're like doing some work on the low rings or doing some work on your swing doesn't mean you can just check out of life and then wait until the muscle ups come. And you're like, well, that's stupid. I wasted 15 minutes. No, you didn't. If you had actually put some effort into the skill work that we're doing, you'd be pretty cooked by the end of it. And it would probably also make your muscle ups better. So instead of doing like 1.5 with a chicken wing, you can actually do them. And so that, like, in my mind, it's that athlete where they're like, hey, I'm competent in these movements. I maybe can do some of the higher skill stuff like muscle ups and snatches decently well. That I feel like I'm too good for the progressions and the skill work and the stuff in class. So I need a more specific program to help drive my progress. And so they're doing it kind of for that reason. They're like, they don't see the value in the skill work because they're not putting in the effort needed to see the value from the skill work. So they go chase another program. At least that's my thought on it. I don't know.
Way to put a button on it. Good job.
Thanks. Thanks.
So I saw something. Maybe it was Michelle Moot. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was on CrossFit training recently. She's like, people who get coached don't want extra work. And to like, I don't want to make this just about like 3 coaches complaining. Like, we as a coaching community, like, we need to do better. Like, and I'll own this. I try to make this an important thing when I do coach. Like, those people who want to go off to the side and do their own thing, I am constantly being like, Eric, come over here. I wanna pull you in. I want you to do class. Fireman, come on over here. I want you to do class. And like, why would I do that? I'm like, because look what's on the board. I'm gonna give you some shit. I'm gonna make you work today. And I try to upsell, be like, come on, it's gonna be great. Come on. And if I can get them and I can give them something like that, that's a win. That's a huge win. And especially if it's something like they think they've got it figured out, and I cook the shit out of them. Like, pull-ups are a great example. We had this guy in One Nation, fireman. Yeah, he could just like open his arm like this, and he had lats from his elbow to his hip, just like huge broad back. And so pull-ups are easy for him, right? Well, everything gets harder when you stop moving and have to hold a position. And so like part of my entire warm-up was like, cool, go ahead, pull over the bar, chill, just like hang out there for a period of time. And I think the workout was like 5x5 weighted pull-up. And you could absolutely chuck that on the front end of something and then be like, cool, we're gonna do, I don't know, Diane on the back end or something like that, right? But as coaches, we can be better at being thoughtful and deliberate and trying to, deliver something in that 60 minutes that holds them together. But it's hard as hell. And I mean, I know the circles that the three of us ran in, like we were incredibly blessed, you know? Not everyone has that. So, with that in mind, like, how do we, Nicole, what are some ways that you might, or maybe you just don't, and you're like, nah, screw, go do your open gym. What are some ways that you try to like pull people in and sell them on the virtue of being uncomfortable in a position of like getting coached?
Ooh. So a couple different strategies. I'll use the first example is one I just do for myself is, my friend Kyle programs for me, but I still take class. And sometimes he'll give me the whole week on Monday, and I'll look at the programming. And for example, he gave me bench press this week. The affiliate had bench press on Monday. Cool. I'm going to take class. Instead of me filming myself and then sending it to him to review, why don't I get immediate feedback? And also then subsequently hit a PR because I have someone spotting me versus an open gym. I'm not going to push myself to that extreme because I might not have a spotter available.
Right.
So it's like you get that positive peer pressure from being in class. You get that coaching. You get that spotting with certain movements, bench press being the example here, that you don't get necessarily during open gym. There might be a rare occasion that you do, but those are few and far between. Other ways I might try to get someone into class would be things like a partner workout. So, maybe you have that person in your affiliate that like never comes to class.
Yeah.
And that there's a partner workout later in the week, invite them. Be like, hey, there's a workout on Thursday. I want you to be my partner. It's like you've tagged them, you've asked them, they've given you their verbal commitment. Like they've got to take class.
I like that. And it also like it's like I'm putting myself on the line here too. Come join me. Come save
Yeah.
me. Ooh. Ooh. Get a little
So
skin in the
especially
game.
if like, it happens to be in front of other people, they're like, oh, you're gonna take class? All right, I'll be there too. Like,
Yeah.
a little bit of accountability.
Yes.
So, there's different strategies. You can also just definitely play to kind of like who the person is. Like, I coach firemen. He loves a good challenge. So if you kind of put that little plug in there of like, oh, well, I know so-and-so got this earlier, they might bite at that bait and come to class.
Yep.
So, it really depends on how well you know your members, like what is going to get them.
I like that. I really like that. Kev, talk to me. Give me some strategies.
Oh man, I usually just resort to bullying people. I just- uh, and
Kevin's opinions do not reflect that of Talk the Average Fitness.
Remember how you said there's like the shitheads are fewer and far between?
Usually.
I found one. Yeah, right here.
Nice.
You just look in the mirror,
right?
Yeah, pretty much. No, I like if someone's, I kind of like similar strategy to how you would go, Sam. Kind of like they're trying to upsell. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have some fun. I got something special planned for you guys. It's gonna be great. And so so on Thursday, yesterday, our class workout was Annie. And most people, if you've been doing CrossFit for a while, would look at Annie and be like, what do I need a class for? It's a 6 to 10 minute workout. It's double unders and sit-ups. What do I need a 60-minute class for? So myself and Colin, being the geniuses that we are, we kind of like came up with a plan of like, okay, here's a little something extra we can give them that is one going to make sure like the engines are all firing. They're going to get out of breath, sweaty, and whatever. It's going to feel like kind of an extension of the workout. So instead of like a 6 to 8 minute workout, you've now kind of doubled that workout time. And we're going to work on some stuff that's going to be one of the movements was valuable for the workout. We practiced some double unders. The second movement was going to be valuable for a little bit of some quote unquote open prep. We practiced everyone's favorite wall walks.
Oh, yeah.
So got everyone upside down, did some skill work for the wall walk. If you've ever done a wall walk, you can basically do one and your shoulders are warm. So it got the shoulders super warm, loosey goosey. You need like, good midline stability to go through the wall walk. So we did some skill work of wall walk and double unders kind of before the workouts. Like beforehand, we're telling people before class, like, oh yeah, like come, like can't wait to see you guys on Thursday. We've got an adventure for you guys. And of course, because the skill piece that we had planned for all of our members wasn't on the app, you couldn't see it.
Nice.
So we're like, oh baby, we've got something in store for you guys. I put it up on the Facebook page with like the little purple, like, evil devil emoji thing. Like, oh, can't wait to see you guys on Thursday. Let's get it.
This is giving me flashbacks to when you tried to upsell. I don't even remember the whole workout, but it was you had a photographer coming to the nation. Yeah. Oh my God. He's like,
amazing.
We need a huge class because we're gonna get tons of photos. It can't be empty. So all week he kept upcharging or upselling class. And I think you made them run it twice, but once was backwards or something.
It was amazing. So the workout, Sam, for reference, I believe the workout was either 40, 30, 20, 10 or 30, 20, 10 of, it was like box step overs and calories on a machine. And so I'm like, we had one of our members, Gleb, does photos. We were trying to get I was trying to get some photos for like social media, the website, the whole thing. And I sat there, I'm like, the whole week, it was going to be like Friday night. I was like, hey guys, like we've got an amazing thing planned. Friday night, we're having a photographer come. We're going to get some sick action shots of you guys. The workout's going to be great. We're going to have some fun, throw down. It's going to be amazing. And so, big group shows up, big class. And again, it's like I think it was 30, 20, 10.
Did they know the workout ahead of time?
Yes.
Okay.
So they knew the workout was like the 30.
But they didn't know the twist that Kevin was going to put
exactly.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was, so it's 30, 20, 10 of dumbbell box step overs and calories on a machine.
Yep.
So we get the room's all set up. It's laid out. They got their stations. Big group comes in because like photographer, where like everyone's got their, their fancy new shirt on. They got their, matching shoes, the whole deal. Everyone came to play. I was like,
nice.
Awesome. So the warm up, this is how I'm sneaky, is during the warm up, I was like, hey guys, you're just going to grab a buddy to warm up and we're just going to trade movements back and forth. We'll work to rest action, So, just nonchalant, just grab a partner. So they get their partner, they're going through the warm up. Partner A does this, partner B does this. We get the whole warm up going. We lead them through a thing, get their dumbbell weight squared away. 3, 2, 1, off we go. And it's a pretty fast workout. You're looking for, sub 8, sub 10 for sure. So they're cruising through. I was like, guys, here's what I'm looking for, you guys. I'm looking for the feeling after this workout is face down, open mouth, breathing on the floor. That's what I want from you guys in this workout. And so everyone sells their soul. It was amazing. So everyone finishes up within a couple minutes. I'm like, cool. You guys remember your partner from the warm up? And everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, sick. We're going to rest 2 minutes. And then you're going to do this again with your partner, except it's going to be burpee box jump overs.
Awesome.
So split the calories, split the burpee box jump overs, however you want with your buddy, but we're doing it again, 90 seconds. Let's go. And so everyone's like, peel this stuff off the floor, find my buddy, get my box. And they go through again. It was amazing. So it was so good. I was like, guess what? Surprise, bonus fitness. You thought you were just doing some step overs and rowing today for a few minutes? Nah, none of that.
That's awesome. Well,
it was fantastic.
Hats off to you. And every once in a while, I think I remember, it was Austin talking about this. You get to the end of a 4 or 5 round workout and be like, cool, do one more round. And just leave it there, do one more round and be like, are we serious? I love that kind of stuff. I'm also a fan of lying to athletes, frankly, and just sandbagging the hell out of things and just surprising them as much as humanly possible. And then, of course, there's a bunch of ways to do that, but I think that, putting stories aside, putting a bow back on, open gym and stuff like this, I think you both would agree that there's a lot of good that can come out of something like an open gym. It can serve a purpose, I mean, hell, Nicole won a powerlifting competition probably because she spent a lot of time during open gym doing stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably.
Setting records maybe all not. Over the place.
Absolutely. So
flat record.
Exactly. That's awesome. That's a worthwhile use of an open gym time. I think where it becomes an issue is if it's not dovetailing with the culture that you're trying to set at the affiliate, and I think especially you're going to have issues if you haven't explored what culture you want to set at the affiliate. And if the members are running the gym, it's like what's the saying? It's like the inmates running the asylum, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes it's hilarious, but somebody's got to be in charge at some point.
Yeah. I think a good example of building a culture and like fostering a positive open gym community would be, if someone's utilizing CAP, our affiliate uses CAP, and CAP always has weakness work. So we write the weakness work up on the board.
Yes.
So it's like there's some guidance there in terms of what people could do for open gym. We also have a huge goal board in the front, and members will start at the beginning of the year. They write their goals. So it's like we're encouraging you to pursue your goals.
Yes.
They're written up there. We're holding you accountable. So if you're an open gym and you're not sure what you want to do, but maybe you can't make class later and that's the only hour you've got, you don't really want to do the workout on your own, cool. Well, we always have someone at the front desk. You can point out your goal on the board and we can always help you kind of like tailor something for that hour accordingly.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. I had a thing I put on Instagram not too long ago specifically about a goal board and like how helpful a goal board can be. And like if there are coaches listening and you have a goal board at your gym, use it. Just don't have it be a parking space on your fucking whiteboard for people to write stuff. Like go back, review, and John wants to work on muscle ups. Okay, first of all, is it safe for John to work on muscle ups? Yes? Cool. How can I help John work on his muscle ups today?
Well, something we're going to start to do at Northern Exposure, we did one this past year. At the end of the year, we did a goal session. It was like right before New Year's, like, hey, if you've got a goal on the board you haven't crossed off, come to class. Let's see what we can do.
Awesome.
And for many, that was maybe a little bit too late to work on something.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do quarterly ones where it's like maybe if someone, for example, has a muscle up as a goal, cool, we've caught it early enough. This first quarter, this is what you're working on.
Yeah.
When you come to that next session, all right, this is where we're at. Okay. All right. What are we going to attack on that we have to like get ready for by the next one? Mm-hmm. So then maybe by the end of the year, that person does have their goal. Even if right now it doesn't seem the most realistic or obtainable, it's like we've got these quarterly sessions where we can hold them accountable. And again, we can really leverage open gym and make it a positive thing in our community by having a blueprint they can work off of.
So I'm going to put my other podcast hat on real quick because I can't distinguish things. So talking about value adds, right? So one of the things that we talk about in the other podcast that I'm a part of, we talk about the number of connections you make deliberately with your members, right? And how that can have positive downstream effects. So you've got this focus now quarterly. We want to check in with our athletes, like see what their progress is toward these goals. Hypothetically speaking, even just, taking that time to touch base with those people, what do you think is the potential positive downstream effect? And for example, like, do you think this is going to help drive personal training revenue because people are getting regular touch points on these things? That's a question.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if it was a question or a statement.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it definitely has an opportunity to develop more revenue for the gym, as long as your gym is one that does personal training. We don't have a huge personal training market at our gym.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often there's a couple one-offs, but that's not something that we really do. But then I think back at One Nation where that was like a huge thing. And every so often it was really valuable if you did spend a couple minutes with a member and give them like a nugget of knowledge. It's like, hey, here's 2 minutes of my time. Oh, that works for you? You want more? Cool. Well, we can schedule a time.
Yeah.
Like, here's my availability, here are my rates, etc.
Yeah.
So that can definitely add value to the gym, both in terms of one member retention. You're providing a service to that member. You're helping them pursue their goal. Their goal is going to take a while. They're going to hang out longer. But also you're bringing value to the gym by bringing in additional revenue, whatever the split might be for the gym between you and them.
Not to mention for you as the trainer, there's your ability to ascend your impact and your income kind of simultaneously. You deliver additional value to that member. You increase their um, the likelihood of retention, like you said. And then for you, and we've talked about this on the other podcast that I have, like at $50,000, you've made it as a CrossFit coach. Like if you can get to like a salaried position, like hats off to you. Most coaches aren't there. And so more than likely, if you love CrossFit and you want to keep coaching CrossFit, at some point we have to like have a big kick conversation about revenue and income. And that's and for people who do CrossFit, I'm not just sitting here looking for ways to nickel and dime you. Like, I want to coach you. I want to help you with your things.
Yeah.
I also want to eat, and I want to. Yeah.
Well, so tying the two conversations together, then there was a coach down in Baltimore that I worked with. And, he did really well for himself in marketing himself as a coach, but also leveraging the time he had at the gym. He knew that, hey, I'm on to Man Saturday's open gym. I know I'm going to be there. So he would put on his Instagram or his Facebook, or even in our Facebook group for the gym, be like, hey guys, I'm going to be at the gym. I'm going to give away 4 15-minute free personal training sessions.
Ooh.
Book them now. So one, he knew that he wasn't just sitting around twiddling his thumbs during his open gym time.
Yeah.
Because he was someone who traditionally took that Saturday off as rest day. So he's like, all right, I'm just here. I'm not working out.
Yep.
So it was like, okay, I'm going to fill that hour then with these personal training sessions. And he would try his damnedest during that session to give them at least one takeaway, if not more.
Yeah.
And the turnover there of how many he then converted to personal training sessions and the extra revenue for himself was amazing.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you also saw just a general increase in his class attendance, that people were seeking out his classes because they were like, hey, like he gave me this one tip and it was a game changer. I wonder what I would get if I just regularly attended his class. So then, the person in the back who's usually an open gym, use the open gym for the personal training session. They're now getting personal training and they're in class. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Right. Trainers, if you listen to this, go back, rewind that, take notes, and for the love of God, do it. The other side of that conversation is I
can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now? Nicole's going to figure stuff out. So
yeah.
The other side of that is if you're gonna sell those 15-minute sessions, you gotta hustle. Like you are on the clock and you're trying to, this person, I bet they sold value delivery hand over fist for 15 minutes solid. And they've got to sell this person, whoever they're working with, on, not only is it worthwhile for you to come and do this again with me, you're going to exchange cotton. Goods and services rendered, and I think that hats off to that guy for being kind of entrepreneurial like that. And it's not just about him making more money. It's like those people, I guarantee, got better. They solved their skill problems and their, the things that they were frustrating quicker. So that's really, really cool to hear. I'd love to hear more about that kind of offline. Interesting. Well, so typically we try to do about 40-minute AMRAP version of this. A little bit long, but doesn't matter to me. That's okay. Kev, final burning thoughts, considerations, anything you think we missed talking about open gym?
I just had a thought of, coming back to when Nicole said, if your affiliate uses CAP, they have extra weakness work that you can recommend for your athletes. I know that was something that worked really well for us at CrossFit Boston for a couple different ways. Is not so much the weakness work, but we would have our full-time staff. So myself, Lachlan, and James, Nicole, whenever she was there, would throw one up on the board. We had a little section of extra work. Just a bunch of jabronis. Because pretty much every week, James's extra work was just more bicep curls. He called it the Hobart arm farm. And so it was amazing. But he programmed
the Hobart arm farm?
Arm farm, darn right.
Oh God.
Darn right. And
and then yours was Ginger Ninja?
Yep, and that's where that came from. Lachlan was the Combat Wombat. Listen, man,
yes. It makes me so happy.
It worked. And so as we were like going through, what we would do is you'd program things where you knew what the week of workouts was.
Yeah.
So you'd put something on the board to kind of like maybe nudge people in the direction of like, hey, do this because I know this isn't going to wreck you for class tomorrow. And we were
Nice.
always one that like, if you'd like to do open gym, it's like do class and then whatever. But if we knew that like wall balls were coming up on Thursday, the extra work for the week, like we wouldn't put more wall balls in there for someone to like explode their life before, during, or after the class that also had wall balls. So kind of in that way, that would kind of be my, if you are someone like, or an affiliate that does want to offer open gym, the kind of cap model where you have a set of programming that like, also provides extra work will work really well. But similarly, if whatever programming you follow, whether it's your own or someone else's, you can see the week's worth of stuff. Give your members some ideas of things you can do that might add value. Like you said, either looking at a goal board or just some extra giggles that they might like to do that won't wreck their entire existence, throughout the week, is probably a smart way to go about it.
Very cool. I like that. Also, Combat Wombat. That's going to live in my brain for free forever.
Well, I mean, but it makes sense though. If I don't know if like, so Lachlan, for those that may not know, is Australian and former military. So he is a combat wombat by definition. Yes, he is a combat wombat by definition. So
not bad, not bad. Nicole, when you think about open gym, final thoughts, questions, concerns, or burning desires in terms of this topic?
Nope, still a love-hate relationship with it. It's got a time, it's got a place, and affiliates should leverage it if appropriate.
Yeah, it can. It's a double-edged sword for sure. Well, awesome, Nicole. I really appreciate you. Absolutely, last minute and with no warning whatsoever, hopping on and being like, "Yeah, sure, I'll just do
Literally, the text I got, it went from Sam needing help with something for like the open to holy crap, you're awesome. By the way, what are you doing for the next 40 minutes? Want to be on a podcast? To which I had to clarify, which of your many, many podcasts are we talking about here?
Yes. So there are a couple podcasts, and funny enough that we got to like bring him in. For anyone who might have been listening and they're like, what's that other thing that he was talking about? I'm on a podcast called the $1 Million Coach Podcast. Give that a listen to as well. But this was really, really cool. I wasn't utilizing hyperbolus. I don't know the infinitive of hyperbole is. I wasn't blowing smoke up your ass when I said you're someone I listen to when you talk, and I have a great quick story. So one of the hard parts about being you reach a certain level of coaching, and in most places that you walk into, and especially if you are the head coach, you're at a level where you're probably not getting corrected as often as you might like to be. And everybody needs to be corrected. That's why all coaches should take class. And there's a great story that I tell about Nicole where, so I was working at the Phoenix. And I went and I dropped in and I took class at One Nation in Needham one day when you were coaching. And the workout of the day, I want to say it was deadlifts and sit-ups or something like that. And we were doing a drill where I had a barbell doing deadlifts, partners holding onto the rubber band, and the rubber band is looped around the barbell. So it's lat activation drill. And you're sharking around. And so you're having people like alternate with partners and like go through with a specific focus on something. And like a good coach, she is tuning into what people are doing well, what they need to improve on. She's giving specific cues for each person. And she comes to me and she sits and she stops and she just watches for like 10 reps. And I pride myself on being a good mover. Like I try not to be an asshat. I try to move deliberately and move well. And after, it wasn't 10 reps, but it was like at least 8 reps, she goes, put your big toe down. And I'm like, fucking A, was I lifting? And I did another rep. I'm like, son of a bitch, I did. And I tell this story because it's a fantastic example of, one, everybody needs to, no matter how well anybody moves, everybody can get better. And two, subtle faults might not be viewable in like 1 or 2 reps. And so I can imagine she sat and she watched, she's like neutral spine, bar path, weight in the heel, weight. She watched again, she's like, there it is. And so like, and I've never forgotten that. Never forgotten that cue. I think that every time I deadlift, every time I squat. So
I say Sam's big toe hasn't left the floor since.
right? They're pressing into the little rubber mat I got.
If we pick up his shoe, it's going to be like extra.
He has a
worn.
massive indent
Yes.
where his big toe is. He goes, motherfucker's going to stay on the floor.
Absolutely. Hats off to you for changing the way I think about my big toe when I deadlift and squat. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a shit ton of fun. Almost assuredly, we're going to try to con you into another one of these. Yeah. We'll let you pick the topic that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
That could be dangerous.
Absolutely.
It could be.
It's going to be
very dangerous.
No big deal. NBD. Nicole, thank you so much. Kevin, always a pleasure, sir. Peace, everybody.
Bye, Captain.
Have fun.